Welcome to the back court, where sometimes you play for pints instead of points. The backcourt is netball, but it's not as you know it. It's not just the top of the line stuff we're talking about. We're talking about real netball. We delve into the politics, the dramas, the disasters, the debacles, all from your local social league. We want to have the real conversations, the types that you're having at the backcourt, back of court 18 on a freezing winter's night. I'm Hannah Kuhar. I've played netball from Ballarat to Bunbury, Wollongong, Mount Eliza, you name it. And I know that wherever I am, we're all debating the same issues. The deep heat, the dodgy knees, last-minute fill-ins, sneakily long nails, all the unfiltered realities of playing for fun, as we say. So it's time for us to have a central place for these conversations. This is The Backcourt, a podcast which is going to look past netball's flawlessness and instead tackle the real stuff. Expect lighthearted takes on netty news, relatable anecdotes, community stories, and left field observations. Fresh eyes on the hottest topics of the week. Backcourt banter where everybody is welcome. So, to help chronicle netball as it really is, I'm joining forces with the one obvious choice, failed professional cricketer, Matt Fatea. I feel uncomfortable about calling you a failed pro.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It wasn't very professional, was it? It's just failed. It was the same word. No, the Netball Australia powers that be have made another wise choice and they've thought, to really enter into a new era, let's get someone who has never played a game of netball to cast an eye over the world of netball as it truly is. And their track record of making sound decisions continues. I'm glad to be here. You talk about politics. There's an election around the corner. We'll probably, that's going to be an important part of where netball sits. Will Peter Dutton cancel the sport of netball? It's probably on the agenda. You never know with the
top
great
of
man.
The priorities, I have heard.
Exactly. No, it's very exciting to be here looking at netball in a different way. It's no longer a sport for pretty white girls, is it? And we want to move past that. It's netball your Nanna wouldn't like. My Nanna doesn't speak English and doesn't know what netball is, and she definitely wouldn't like this podcast. So we're ticking all the boxes, Hannah.
Well, I like to think that maybe your Nanna will be liking netball by the end of listening to this podcast, as she absolutely is going to do. And no better place to start than episode 1, Nanna,
Exactly.
The off-season review, which probably tells you everything you need to know about this podcast, given we're already thinking about the off-season. Like, priorities are already in check.
Well, it's the only place to start. There's been no netball for 4 months. Of note.
I'd like to think that this episode's about us planning our off-season trip, but we might save that for the end of the episode.
See how the podcast goes.
We'll see if we make it that far. On the agenda today, I want to talk SSN babies because there were a lot of them coming up over the off-season. The Swifts, they've had some parties and the guest lists have been explosive, and also ranking the social media output over the summer, which clubs have ranked top, bottom. I think there are some surprises in there. So are you ready to be
Always
firm,
ready.
harsh, and an impartial critic?
Impartial's probably the wrong word, but I'm ready to be firm and harsh. And as a man born on the backcourt, I'm ready for this.
Done. Well, if you're liking the show, if you're not liking the show, give us your feedback. Backcourt_pod on Instagram and TikTok. Let's get moving. So, Seg 1, netty news. Let's talk about some of the big things that have happened over the break because it has been a couple of months. Have you been missing netball? I feel like after the international matches, I go, geez, I need that content. Thank goodness that social media is around.
Yeah, the lack of netball has definitely left a void in my life, as you can tell. So I've been all over this, been waiting for this segment for a long time.
I feel like you've almost been across it more than I have because you've been trying to keep up to date with what's happening in clubland. Can we start at the big SSN signings?
Well, of course we can. The obvious one is the Grace Nowicki. We haven't seen a New Zealander with this sort of presence since Jonah Lomu, and it's good to have her on our shores this year. Incredible that she wasn't allowed to play here in the first place, and the fact that she's chosen to play in the best league has caused such a stir is exciting for me. I think it's going to be exciting to see how she reacts. She's cool. She's actually cool, and I think that alarms a few people in the netball circles.
I think of all the teams that had a shocker last year, the Swifts were well and truly up there. I think of all the recruitments, this is one of the best for saving face. Like PR team, I think Swifts, closely rivaled by the Firebirds. Their PR teams have had the best summers in these recruitments. Forget the on-court value, off-court PR tick.
Well, we'll get into obviously media team performance later in the show. I don't know about PR. What was wrong with the Swifts PR? Oh, obviously,
I think we might need another episode for that one.
Good point.
But beyond Nweki, I think there were some other really cool names. Of course, Mary Trollope has arrived in Australia. So much fanfare. Can I ask you, Matt, have you heard how tall she is?
She is. And I look forward to our friends at Fox, Kath Cox, Bianca Chatfield, so on, referencing Mary's height religiously. And that's something you really want to see in your commentators is just tropes. Obviously, we see it in other sports. Scott Pendlebury, basketball background. There's a few cricketers that played footy. So we like to mention that when they do something athletic. So I look forward to Mary clutching a ball out of the air. And rather than her athleticism being mentioned, it's just sheer height. And to be honest, it's genetics. So she should be good. If she's not good, she's let tall people around the world down.
Multiple countries. She's let down the whole of South Sudan, Uganda. You're taking all of the countries with her.
Oh, it's not even a country thing. It's just a height thing. If you've got that sort of frame and you can't succeed at sport, it's a worry.
Yeah, see, the tall goaler discussion is an interesting one. And obviously at my height, I feel very passionately for the small players. However, I think they add another dimension because when you watch like a Junior Levi, like watching him move at his frame, so strong, so agile, amazing. But then I do understand the people who are like, oh, this is boring. You just lop it up to the tall goaler. They get it in. Like, where's the interest in that? So I can understand the critics, but somehow I get the feeling that the Firebirds might not be sharing that same view and they're pretty happy with their new recruit.
No, absolutely. It's good to see them spending money too. Haven't had an international for 3 or 4 years. That's good.
And then they've brought along Alison as well. So a big summer ahead. Of course, MJ Kumwenda, she had a beautiful baby and is now finding herself at Fever.
Yeah, big shoes to fill for MJ. Oh, no strong opinions on MJ, if I'm honest. Good player. Big shoes to fill. Let's see how it goes.
Some other big names, Kiri Wills.
Yeah, Kiwi again.
Yeah.
The invasion begins. I look forward to us trying to just any time the Firebirds do something nice in defence, commentators will reference the fact Kiri Wills is from New Zealand. They play a different style of defence. No other reason that it could be that. Also noticed she's a very kind person and her relationship building is well noted. She was playing bananagrams with her team in between running sessions.
Hang on, so film me this. So
you've never played
bananagrams, the little game with the tiles.
Yeah, it's like Scrabble, but like free form. It's like Raw Dog Scrabble.
Oh, I think they're going to pick that up as a sales pitch on that.
They can contact me if they want.
Bananagrams come through.
So that she was playing it in between sprints or whatever. I'm not across the Firebirds conditioning program. But I believe the rationale was to improve decision-making under fatigue.
Love it.
I look forward to Emily Moore late in the fourth quarter just thinking of words and just yelling at random words on court to really rattle her opponents. But no, Kiri Wills, it's very exciting to see more Kiwis come across. The last one to come across was Dame Nolene Tarua. Is that how you say it?
That's
and
it.
she won 2 back-to-back titles. So Firebirds dynasty is a lock.
See, I think all of the coaches are playing chess and then Kiri is out there playing checkers because there's nothing more inspirational than a captain who can actually serve something deep in the fourth. And so when you're talking about, what are the players going to do in the fourth quarter? They're not just going to say, go girls, G up, turn over the ball. I reckon they're going to be throwing in some spicy adjectives like, what a sensational intercept, or they're just going to give us something fruity now.
Bananagrams is about short, sharp words. It's about speed. It's not about fancy words.
Oh, so it's not quite your Scrabble like trying to put Z in a really long word.
No, if you get a Z, you're fucked.
Oh, gosh. Well, good luck then to the Firebirds with their short, sharp, effective timeout conversations in 2025. My favourite one is Gina Crampton. Of course, she signed to the Giants and disclaimer, I used to play with her. She is a ripper. And then she fell pregnant and won't actually be suiting up. Is that the shortest turnaround of a contract that we've seen in the SSN?
Well, I'm not sure. Again, my knowledge of SSN is pretty limited. But congratulations to Gina and her partner.
Absolutely.
And it's just the Giants. They just can't catch a break, can they? Not that it's a bad thing that Gina's pregnant, but I'm sure they were probably looking forward to having the former Silver Fern skipper out on court.
You know what, though? She's so good that I reckon she can have as many babies as she wants. She can come back at the age of 50 and she'd still be dominating that wing attack bib.
Having children at 50, you're a braver person than me.
You know what? If one lady can do anything, Gina Crampton is the gal. Do you reckon the Giants, whoever's doing all the hiring and firing at the Giants, did a bit of a timeline of like, oh, hang on, did we do something dodgy here?
No
like,
doubt.
did we
Absolutely
do our
no
due
doubt.
diligence?
I don't know how many staff they've got at the Giants, but I'm sure that time was put aside to figure that out. But no, on all serious note, congratulations to Gina and her partner, whoever he is.
Yep. Very exciting news for Fuss and Gina. Speaking of baby news, of course, it continues throughout, particularly New South Wales, but the rest of the league. Ellie Temu and Mannix had her child Mabel and Maddie Proud, of course. So some exciting times, I want to say, for SSN, maybe 2045. I think we could have some big draft picks.
Yeah, well, obviously we don't do a draft in netball, and I look forward to the day that we do follow teenagers around on netball courts and describe their play. But it's an interesting pool that you're talking of there. Crampton, you've got here that her partner, is it Faz?
Us,
Fuss. Yep. He's a thick boy. Then you've got Al's fiance, Penrith Panthers. So again, another thick boy. Dan Hughes, cricketer, Sydney Sixers, New South Wales. There's obviously hand-eye coordination there, which is important. Emily Mannix is the interesting one. I believe, I don't know who her partner is. I think he's a bit shorter, which is probably unfortunate.
Ari Levinson, just an ordinary fella.
Yeah, we might have to beat that out. I'm not sure if Ari's got his name on there. But he's a little fella. And that's just disappointing in netball, isn't it? Like, so they're really banking on mum's genes kicking in there.
Bad luck, Ari. You heard that. Disappointing.
I don't know. From memory, top of my dome, he's a pretty cluey bloke though. So hopefully that comes into play. But look, it's great to see babies everywhere for all these players. It's an interesting topic. It's probably one of the only sports that has this issue.
Does it make you think, given the sporting pedigree of so many of these couples, and these are power couples, like we are talking.
Who's your number one pick of those four?
A good question. I'm going to go, I reckon, Ellie Temu, given that, like you delve into her partner, Isaiah Papali'i. He obviously, Penrith Panthers, we know all about that. But his mum, this is my favourite bit about that family.
Panthers are they've got 3 in a row, haven't they?
The Penrith Panthers, absolutely. He's joined the club at the right time. Not only was Isaiah a weightlifting champion on his own name, like he was dominating under 17s, under 20s, like gold medals, weightlifting championships. So already, I'm going to call him a dual sport athlete if I can. But even cooler, in 2019, he was playing NRL over in New Zealand. His mum was also playing in the same NRL Women's Premiership. Like unprecedented times when you have a mother and a son playing for the respective women's and men's sides. That has never happened, and I dare say will never happen again.
Probably not. That's all right. You've sold me. I look forward to 2045 talking about what won't be Timu, will it? Be Papali'i.
Probably, maybe. Maybe we'll see how.
I pronounced that wrong. I've pronounced that like an ethnic.
We'll see how it pans out. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a tall baby, and I feel like going off netball talent, it's only getting taller and taller this game. So you want a baby with both partners that are like 6 foot. So yeah, I think Elliot would be my first pick.
Yeah,
do you have?
I'm with you. I'll be
thoughts?
honest. I didn't have any picks.
No picks.
No,
all right.
no picks. I'll pass on them.
Well, who would you go with 2?
No, passing. I'll pass all
Just
4.
pass. I'll take all 4 of them. I'm excited about that. My super coach team for 2045 is looking hot. Of course, the Swifts, they've also, given that Maddie Proud is stepping out with her pregnancy, they've announced a new captain. Cue another Maddie.
Yeah, it's pretty village what the Swifts are doing. And I don't get co-captains in any sport.
Oh,
I don't get captains. Like, I've, again, never played net. What, like, game day, what's the captain doing in netball? Tossing the coin?
Not only are they tossing the coin, they're choosing the end. Where's the wind at?
Yeah, exactly. So,
but they are
do you need 2 of them?
Mood.
Do you need 2 of them? You don't need 2 of them. The other thing I've noticed as well, a lot of teams do the same. Like, so there's 10 people on a netball list, SN list. The Thunderbirds recently announced that there's 5 people in the leadership group. If you're the other 5, you are spitting chips. Like 50% of the list of the Thunderbirds are in the leadership group, and then at the Swifts, 20% of the team are captain. That's too many.
Oh, see,
you got to delete at least 1.
This is hitting close to home because with my state league team that I'm playing in at the moment, so we're in the unique position of having a playing coach and a playing assistant coach. So already they've said that's enough on our plate. Don't look at us for leadership roles. So that's 2 leaders we can't vote for. Can you give us the 3-2-1 for whoever's left? And so you're going, oh gosh.
Too many people in a leadership group.
It does feel like
it's too many.
Everyone has a badge.
I think, and like it's obviously notoriously, the more people in decision-making processes, the smoother the system goes. So it'd be seamless.
See, I kind of like the fact that netball, everyone's welcome to be part. You know, you don't need a badge to be a leader. You can have the
Apparently
badge.
at the Thunderbirds you do. 5 of them have got one.
Yeah, look, maybe 5, maybe 50% is a bit excessive. But you know what? I kind of love it because let's give everyone a title, give everyone that little line in the CV, given that everyone's already going to be leading the team in their various ways. You know, what's the worst that can happen with this?
Well, I look forward to the Thunderbirds coming out with a more hierarchical sort of structure of their 5, who's under Hannah Petty and so on. We started with some Swifts chat there with the double leadership. A lot of Swifts chat in the first segment, and we're going to have some more Swifts chat in this next segment. It's called What Caught My Eye. What caught my eye, Hannah? I don't know if you're across social media icon Big John.
You're going to have to fill me in.
Yeah, well, I do know you are across him because I've spammed your Instagram DMs with the great man's content. Big John is a man.
Love to Matt's lovely partner. Might be sliding in the DMs, but very professional.
No, it's albeit professional. Well, as professional as sending Big John videos can get. The great man has over 1 million social media followers across Instagram and TikTok. And it's with the content structure of being really large. So I'd say he's your 6'2", your 6'3", and the scale has broken. He's from Essex. He loves Chinese food. Well, he loves all takeaway, but particularly Chinese food. Loves a beer and loves saying Bosh at the end of every video. We're going to try and squeeze a clip into the great man going with that catchphrase. Bosh. Bosh. His son is a boxer, heavyweight boxer, the Romford Bull. They run a separate account of Big John. It's just the same videos, but they like run auto-tune and stuff over it. They've really found a niche and they're running with it.
Love it.
Their most notable Chinese order, I'll run you through it here and I will pronounce some words wrong, is shredded chow mein, plain chow mein, special fried rice, egg fried rice, sweet and sour chicken balls, spicy pork, sweet and sour chicken, salt and chili prawns, mini pancake rolls, sesame prawn toast, and then chips just in case you're not into your curries. So that's setting the tone of what Big John's about. He actually brought that order on the Brit Awards recently with Jack Waddle and performed in front of a large audience there.
Well, I feel like off that order alone, they actually saved a lot of money, didn't have to order catering.
No catering.
They just let Big John go free reign.
Exactly. And he performed under pressure, more importantly. You would have spoken in front of crowds. Now, the Brit Awards is quite large. We're talking, I don't know, the numbers is, I'd say 1,000 maybe, and they're all pretty big names, celebrities. He nailed his Bosh, so he'd be pretty happy with that, and we're always happy to see performers perform. He was recently in Australia on tour. He doesn't really branch out from what he's good at. He was eating, he was drinking, he was saying Bosh.
Mate, Australia has some of the best Chinese food. He would be loving his time.
I don't think I've had Chinese in 10 years outside of dumplings. Chinese food. Its sweet spot was early 2000s, late 90s.
Peaked.
Yeah, I think it peaked then.
No,
I think it's superseded by Thai and Indian nowadays. Thai's the front runner, and then people are going after Indian. They love a curry, and then you got Vietnamese. So I think Chinese has slipped through. It's off the podium.
Ooh, okay, big call. But Brit Awards are bringing it back. Apparently,
you regularly have Chinese food.
I think it's great. Up there with
Japanese. I forgot Japanese.
See,
Chinese is not even top 5.
Not even top 5. Okay. But you were saying Big John's bringing it back.
Yeah, sorry. Dragging me back there. We can debate the hierarchy of Oriental cuisine later. Anyway, he was here. He was eating food, mainly Palmer's, a bit of gear like that. But then he was at the Sydney Sixers game as the celebrity ball. So the Big Bash had the celebrity ball. I don't think Big John bowled the celebrity ball.
Yeah, so celebrity ball, the first ball, like a ceremonial thing beforehand.
Yeah, Big John was at the Sixers game. Again, I doubt he was the one bowling the ball. He might have just been doing promotional work, photo with Steve Smith. Anyway, we've already alluded to the Sixers' connection to the Swifts. Through Daniel Hughes, you've got Jack Edwards, also with Ali Smith. So there's crossover there.
Yeah.
And obviously the Sydney sporting scene's pretty high-end, isn't it? Chad Warner, there's a few. The boys
Swifts will be the first people to tell you they run an exclusive club up there.
Yeah, the Swifts would be pretty happy to be operating in your Swans, your Sixers circles. Big John, also in those circles now. Helen Housby's 30th. Big John.
Big
collab.
John
He was there.
at
He was
her
there.
30th.
He's taken photo. It was H themed. So you got Hannah Montana, Helen Housby with Big John. You got Harley Quinn,
Love it.
Shani Lambden, who couldn't believe her eyes. This time last year, she's working as a teacher's assistant, playing in the VNL. And now, 12 months later, she's hanging out with Big John at Helen Housby's 30th. Things are looking up.
What more could you want in life?
Tegan O'Shaughnessy's there. She's obviously a foodie, so her and Big John would have probably spoken away for an hour. So it's just something that caught my eye. And it's good to see that netball is being appreciated by some of the biggest names in the world.
None bigger than Big John. I mean, do you think that Tegan, how do you reckon she would have, given that she's got a dietitian background, very healthy lady, what do you think her thoughts and feedback would have been for that Chinese order?
I reckon I think we just keep a watch on Tegan's socials. If we see a bit more of a Chinese flavour to what she's preparing, we'll know Big John's been in and around it.
Well, that'll be some tasty content for sure. I was enjoying on Netball Twitter having a bit of a scroll, and our friends over at Super League 2.0, of course, that's starting up in the UK, very exciting, a lot of fanfare about this league. And Sky Sports tried to get amongst the action because, of course, what SSN did so many years ago was introduce the 2-point shot. It's now just arrived. It's like the reversal of the first fleet. Like, it took a really long time for that ship to get over to the UK, but it has arrived. They've got a 2-point shot. But this clip that I watched, my goodness, it was some of the worst 2-point shooting I have ever seen. And I'm the biggest mid-court, won't touch a ball.
Yeah, but you got to.
But that was really bad.
You got to think about who's doing it there. You had Soccer Saturday hosts. So for people who don't know what Soccer Saturday is, in the UK, the 3 p.m. Premier League games, they can't be watched on TV. So it's in the media rights deal that to encourage people to go to pubs or to go to games, you can't watch the games at 3 p.m. So what Sky Sports do is they have a panel who watch the games, and then there's a bit of banter, and then if the goal happens at your game, they throw over to you and you describe the goal, give the score, updates and so on. So you got those, that was who was performing the super shot attempt. So you had Paul Merson, who's absolute Arsenal legend, and Tim Sherwood, who was Tottenham manager, notable figures. But it's a gap in their sporting skills. They're foot-based. It's a foot-based sport, isn't it, football? No, it's in the name. Netball, obviously hand-eye coordination. Paul Merson's he's not allowed to pick up the ball with his hands. So I'll give him a pass on the lack of shooting accuracy.
See, I actually think it plays into the brilliance of Australia smashing England in literally every sport over the last 12 months. And our men, of course, the Kelpies, will be going over to England to smash them yet again. So if we're not already superior in cricket, in literally men's, women's, you want to name it, we're better than England. And this is just another example that they are giving to us. We don't even have to send our teams over there to smash them on home turf anymore. They're sending that content to us. It just gets funnier and funnier.
Well, look, I'll give them a pass. I look forward to more super shots. I look forward to the people of the English netball community getting irrationally angry about the fact that there's 2 points in a game of netball. It's just not netball. And I look forward to it growing the game over there as well.
The only ironic bit that I'll add to it is the fact that Helen Housby is one of the best 2-point shooters in our league.
I don't think your man Paul Merson knows who Helen Housby is.
Oh, no.
No chance.
She'd be a household name over there. And if not, another thing that's wrong with England.
A lot of people in the United Kingdom. A lot of people. I'll tell you where there isn't a lot of people. Liv Lewis's house. So I don't know if you saw Mavericks defender Liv Lewis and her partner put up an Insta story a couple of weeks back, or maybe a month or so from when this podcast is being published, looking for a flatmate. Now, nothing untoward about that. I hope Liv has found a flatmate in recent times.
She has.
She has. There you go. We've got the inside scoop. Just the only thing that caught my eye is I don't think any other sporting code would have one of the fairly regular players. She's been on a list for 4 or 5 years now. Having to search for a roommate, I just find that it's just netball. Obviously, needs to catch up. Might be a bit, cheap around the edges, cost-wise.
Well, see, this was one of my favourite Instagram stories to see over the summer because you're casually scrolling through, you're like, oh, yeah.
You would have thrown your hat in the ring.
Ooh, see, I'm a bit nervous because what do you think Liv and Riley were looking for in a housemate? Great location, great people. It does blow my mind that she's having to advertise via Instagram. Every other sport would probably set you up.
Rent.
I feel like every other sport sets you up with the house or your teammates, or you even speak about the chicks over in New South Wales. some teammate bought a house and maybe it's one of the fellas who plays for the cricket team is renting out a house. Like, it's a very tight community. And then you've got Liv Lewis being like so welcoming.
It's on brand though. On brand for Liv Lewis. And that's why she's a fan favourite. It's on brand. She's different. She's out there. Fairfield. Northern, like inner north. There'd be people listening to this that wouldn't know where the inner north of Victoria is. They'd think it's Sunbury.
Yeah, well, you know what? Liv Lewis will be the inclusive beacon of light to say, come check out the house, although I can confirm, don't hit her up because she has found that housemate. I'd like to think that it would be a pretty fun house. I can imagine maybe there was a little bit of bananagrams. Maybe Kiri's going to come down and play a bit of bananagrams with Liv Lewis.
Kiri's got her kids in private school up in Queensland. I don't think Kiri's looking for a share house. Speaking of people that won't be looking for a share house, so Luke Jackson, AFL ruckman, young man, about 22, 23, was drafted to Melbourne a few years back. Recently moved back to Fremantle, back to Perth. Monster deal, 2029. Mitch Cleary from Channel 7 reporting recently that, even though he's 23 and he's still got 4 more years on a huge deal and he's from Perth, there's might be the door open to return to Victoria. And it's all because, and the only reason people are looking after this situation is because of his netball partner, Kelsey Brown. Now, Kelsey, retired, well, pretty much retired from the sport now, looking into media.
So she's a training partner at Fever, right. And you're right. So 2030 is when Harry is locked in to play at Melbourne.
Luke Jackson.
Oh, sorry.
Luke Jackson's at Fremantle. Luke Jackson, they're reporting that Luke might forego his 4-year deal, try to get a trade back to Victoria just for Kelsey. Now, I think that's fantastic for the sport of netball because that's a powerful move from Kelsey. I don't know what she's doing. She's obviously doing something right with the great man, Luke, to get this man to leave his home state, to come back cap in hand to possibly Melbourne, which is where he left. And it's just exciting for the sport. Just a little one. Exciting for the sport that a transition of power has occurred.
I'm seeing you now because usually it's netballers who have to move for their fellas, but you're saying...
Because obviously Jamie Lee, the people will be watching Jamie Lee. Her partner Harry's moved to Collingwood. And people will be watching how Jamie operates. I don't know if she's a free agent at the end of this year. I'm not sure.
End of next.
But if are the Vixens, are they interested? Are the Mavericks interested? Can you get her to Melbourne? But yeah, it's good. Good on Kelsey. Love it that netball's starting to just pull a bit more of the weight in the tug of war battle that it is. But there's plenty of relationships like that across the league. Keep moving to another thing that caught my eye. Vixen's new sponsor. So dresses, we've got plenty of them behind us, over your shoulder, over my shoulder. Dress sponsors, I don't know how much they're going for on the market at the Vixens. Like, how much do you think a sponsor's worth? Like, what's the sponsorship to get on the dress? We're talking lower right, just around the right quad.
Thousands.
Obviously thousands.
Yeah.
You reckon tens, 20s?
Yeah, we're minimum 5 figures.
So the new dress from the Vixens has come out. And the Butcher Club, have you heard of the Butcher Club?
Oh,
it's obviously a butcher, isn't it? I don't know if it's a club of them, but it's a butcher.
Okay.
The Vixens players over the last 12 or so months, I'd say if there's 10 of them, 8 or 9 of them have religiously posted the Butcher Club, going to get their meat from the Butcher Club, tagging the Butcher Club, how good's this meat from the Butcher Club. I don't know if they're getting them for free for some sort of promotional thing, or they're just, work, or if they were doing a bit of local footy netball stuff where you work at a sponsor to eventually ask them to sponsor the club. Regardless, if they have been paying for their meat, I still think the Butcher Club's coming out on top in this sponsorship thing. If we're talking for over a year worth of meat, I reckon the Butcher Club's, from 7 or 8 players, the Butcher Club has definitely got more than 20 grand.
So no doubt the Vixens would have a dietitian who's saying, make sure you hit the protein goals, girls, and maybe that's coming via their meat intake. You reckon the Vixens are eating enough meat?
Over the course of a year, 7 or 8 of them.
Wow.
How much does meat cost? The steak's cost of living.
Pretty expensive.
Right now.
Lives. Okay.
Meat is fucking ridiculous.
Hey, do you reckon the Vixens would love the Butcher Club so much? Because you know what I love?
They evidently do. It's on the dress now. They've worked there. The Butcher Club has worked its way into netball culture.
Most netball clubs are just rolling with something netball club. Do you reckon the Butcher Club might change their name to go, they might have a Butcher Netball Club coming up, or maybe the Vixens just get a new naming sponsor in the Butcher Club,
the Vixens Netball Club? The Vixens logo is a fox, isn't it?
Which would probably love meat.
No. Do the Butcher Club start? There's obviously a lot of wild foxes. People don't like foxes. Do the Butcher Club start harvesting, for lack of better words, foxes and selling it as a Vixen special. Vixen's member, you get cheap meat, fox, Vixen meat.
Oh, I think Foxy's feeling a bit nervous all of a sudden. Game day mascot
Why are they
in
even
a
called the
sausage.
Vixens? What is a Vixen?
Vixen. Oh, I mean, I'd tell you to Google it, but probably not on your work laptop.
Yeah, so it's a saucy thing, is a
It
Vixen.
can be if you want.
But then why
we've
is it a
got
fox?
You got Foxy, just works well. I think having your mascot, I mean, I know Australia is funny because we've got, kangaroos on our coins and our emblems, but we also have them in
Can't run
sausages.
backwards, that's why. Do you know that?
I
Kangaroo,
did know that,
yeah.
but we've put kangaroos in sausages, so it would be classic Australian to put the fox, your emblem of the netball club.
There'd be some communities that have eaten fox. Absolutely.
So, you know what? Maybe there is more to this partnership. We're going to have to keep our eyes on it. The Butcher Club and the Vixens.
I think they're the real winners. They've made it. They would have made a shit ton of money off those Vixens players over the last year or so, and they've just thrown in a couple of grand. Yeah, chuck us on the dress, guys. Happy to help out. Big win for the Butcher Club.
I mean, there are some funny sponsorships floating around in the off season. Of course, if you put your brains to AFL, of course, the Melbourne Demons, they've gone with an official toy sponsor in Lego, and the Mavericks have gone with a glue sponsor in Bostik, which they've already come out in their press release saying that they're going to be sponsoring the Defender of the Year award.
Well, it's glue, isn't it?
But wait for all of
Bostik's glue, isn't it?
Yeah, the glue sticks that you would have had primary school, or if you're still rolling with glue sticks.
We had Clag from memory, the little red.
Well, don't.
And you put the brush in it.
Yeah. I think you'd be going around the SEN offices. There would be none of that. There would just be Bostik glue sticks.
Who's gluing things anymore?
I don't know. Well, the Mavericks
When was the last time you glued something?
Oh.
And I'm talking like paper glue. That's what Bostik is, isn't it? Like the glue, like genuine sticks. Or is we talking like your Sally's, like
I didn't realise there were so many glue brands. Look, I'm pretty sure they do it all.
Blue Stick, that was another one at school. Blue Stick, that was a good one. It was a blue lid.
Yeah, and the blue glue as well.
Will you dot on the corners, or will you go around the side, or like an X, or
X and the perimeter?
Right. So you're real type
girl.
A sort of. Yeah,
she's ordered. Does that surprise you? But back to the Bostik thing, like I'm just waiting for all the puns to come out, especially in the SEN commentary of like, oh, she's sticking like glue. Like, how many times do you reckon we're going to hear that in the SEN commentary?
I've only listened to one game on SEN commentary.
Who commentated it?
I can't remember. Lisa Alexander was special comments. So there was a bit going on. I don't think it was you. I would have remembered if it was you, Hannah. Good on. Look, this is just another case of Big Hutch. Any money's good money. Like, someone wants to sponsor the Mavs, get on board. He'll make it work. I mean, and that's the kind of innovator our Lord and Saviour Craig Hutchison is.
He did accept sponsorship of Blue Dinosaur protein bars and snack buds. So Elle Cardwell is going to be the face of that this year, and I can't wait, given that their promo line is Unleash Your Inner Dino, and I just can't wait for her to chuck up a clutch 2-pointer. She's put the Mavs in front. Do you reckon she's going to give us a bit of a rah, like a dinosaur at the end?
As it is. Yeah. But she could go with like sort of a pterodactyl setup.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different dinosaurs, isn't there? I only know 2 or 3. No, 4 maybe. T-Rex, pterodactyl.
Yep.
Stegosaurus.
Very good.
Oh, no. I only had 3. What's the rhino one?
Tyrannosaurus Rex?
No, that's the big one. That's the one with the little arms. The rhino one. Or is that a stegosaurus? And then there's the real tall one. Anyway, I got your 3 dinosaurs.
Don't ask me. Ask Elle Cardwell, because she'll be the pioneer. She'll be the dinosaur guru of the league. Do you think she's going to whip it out as her shot celebration? Because I know you feel passionately about how...
Don't say is she going to whip it out as a celebration.
How I know that you are a big fan
of whipping it out,
of post-goal celebrations, whether it be a
netball needs to change the way it's done. It needs more gaps in place so people can celebrate.
Well, I think Elle Cardwell, here's the opportunity. She's going to get the dinosaur claws out. I can't wait to see what happens. Yeah. There have been some other interesting policies, though. If she's going to bring dinosaurs to the SSN.
No. So we're talking about sports that have gaps, right? Baseball is one of the sports with the most downtime known to man. Have you ever watched a baseball?
It's a long sport. You're in the bunker for a long time. And
so they've got a lot going on. But you're across baseball.
Yeah,
heard of the
it's not
Yankees.
a 7.
Have you heard of the Yankees?
I have.
Right. So you've heard of the New York Yankees. Now they're probably the most famous baseball team. in the world, I'd say. They're not the best anymore, but they're definitely the most famous. And they've recently called a press conference to announce that their facial hair policy had changed.
Oh.
So from 1976, their most famous, I don't think he was an owner. I think he was a general manager. Might have been owner. George Steinbrenner. If you've ever watched Seinfeld, Larry David plays the back of his head. George Costanza works for the Yankees. Anyway, so from 1976, he brought in a rule that all the Yankees players had to have well-groomed, they couldn't have facial hair, and they had to be well-groomed in terms of their actual haircut. So like no mullets, no afros, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So the fact that they called a press conference to tell the media that they would be walking back this policy and players would be now allowed well-groomed beards. So you still can't run like a Max Gorn, like really thick, sort of bushy one, but you can have facial hair, which this is big news in America. Like this was huge news. They even put a graphic out, just a text graphic, like a statement from the general manager. I think it's George Steinbrenner's son. Anyway, multiple players over the years, though, have had to change their hair or appearance. So there's been players that have signed. Garrett Cole was a pitcher. He signed, had to shave. They've had a few other players who have actually been tentative about signing for the Yankees because they're going to have to shave or cut their hair.
So.
Right? The most famous one is Don Mattingly. Are you a Simpsons fan?
Not really.
Well, you should be. So the Simpsons have an episode where there's a softball team, Mr. Burns is coaching it, and he brings in all these ex-Major League players, and one of them is Don Mattingly. And he tells Mattingly to shave his sideburns.
Mattingly! I thought I told you to trim those sideburns. Go home. You're off the team for good.
Fine. I still like him better than Steinbrenner.
That actually happened in real life. Don Mattingly was removed from the starting lineup because he refused to cut his hair.
Why did they do this? This is why I like netball. Let's be inclusive.
It's been in for almost 50 years. So in the end, they actually made the move because a couple of free agents they wanted to sign didn't want to sign for them because they didn't want to shave. And it got me thinking about hair in netball. Right, it's obviously a big thing, isn't it? Hairstyles. You've been across this. And I think the Vixens is the obvious one. I think they've actually secretly brought in a policy last year that there's only two hairstyles that are allowed. Obviously the slick bun, which I don't know. I think I've said that right. That's the main one. There was about 5 or 6 running that. Kate Maloney actually transitioned to a slick bun, didn't she, last year?
It's been interesting to watch that blonde bun brigade. Like they, as a commentator, it is so hard to call
Mean
the
Girls.
Vixens.
It's a bit like high school sort of, everyone sort of had the same haircut.
I'm not going to enter into that. I'm just going to say that mid-court, you're looking and you're going, was that Hannah Mundy? Was that Kate Maloney? Has there been a positional switch? Like where we're sitting right up top, it gets really hard. And especially because I suspect they're all running with a similar shade of fake tan, it is really hard to figure out who's who.
Yeah, so I just something to think. I think we can watch it over the course of the season. Is Hair Watch?
Yeah, okay.
So last year, I think last year was big news when Kate Maloney came out because she previously had other hair, didn't she?
Same follicles on her head, different styles.
Blonde. She's always been blonde.
Yeah.
A friend of mine thought he picked up Kate Maloney one night, and it wasn't Kate Maloney. But anyway, that's fine.
Was she wearing a bun? Was that the giveaway?
We were out in Richmond, and he'd come up to us and told us, "I've picked up Kate Maloney," and I'm probably the only one in our circle of friends that would have. My sister's played netball her whole life, so I had like a general idea of who the netball was. And obviously, like he introduced, it wasn't Kate Maloney, but I didn't have the guts to tell him. And she was running with it, which is big news. Like that girl was running with it. She was happy to think that she was Kate Maloney.
As you would, Kate Maloney. I reckon she'd be premium price in Richmond.
So she's changed her. She changed her hair last year, didn't she?
Well, she's had a few different styles.
The style.
Few different styles. We'll see what she does this year. Of course.
So because she went to the bun from what?
She was rocking with a pony at one stage. Right. There are a few plaits, like there's a bit of a braid. There's the bun club. There's the braid club, of course, for the more defensive players. So you'd look at Jo Weston. She's
Do you reckon that's the white whale for the buns, like the bun crew? If they can get Jo Weston to go to a bun, she's like that's the end game. Because isn't it iconic? It's meant to be iconic, isn't it? The ponytail.
It almost fits in well with the positions that Jo's played. Like, of course, she's a very strong circle defender, but she's been moved up the court, has had stints in wing defence.
Do you reckon to actually be accepted by the mid-court, she's got to run the bun?
Maybe the coaches might push her. Like Coach Simone might say, We're going to push you one further position to centre. However the condition is, you have to be fitting into the blonde bud brigade.
I just think hair watch, it's just something we can look at. Only a handful of players have tattoos, for example. So hair watch is something to watch. So let's just keep an eye on it. Do you think anyone will come out with new hair? Shimona Jock usually rocks some pretty cool stuff.
I feel like it's not as, the hair chat isn't as prevalent amongst other clubs because I feel like it's a bit more, be who you are. We've got girls from all different backgrounds in life. Wear your hair. People don't care. Just do your job. I feel like the Vixens, we've got a little bit more of a style guide on the hair follicles. So we'll see what happens. I'm waiting for them to get some kind of hairspray because to get a bun that slick.
After their acquisition of the Butcher Club, the girls would just go out and do it themselves.
You reckon they're just going to say, we're sick of paying for hairspray ourselves?
There's no partnerships team at Netball Victoria. It's just send the players out.
Okay.
Pick and choose. They've done well.
I have to say credit to the Vixens though. I love the recent pickups in Zara Walters and Lily Graham, not only because they're exceptionally talented netballers, but they're bringing some brown hair to the floor, so it makes my life a bit easier. So thank you, girls. I like the brown hair. Which brings us to what I've been looking forward to most all show, power rankings time. Of course, it's been a big off season for social media teams, but luckily their work hasn't gone unappreciated nor unchecked. Time for us to go through all 8. I want your highlights, Matt, your lowlights. Let's figure out who's winning the off-season premiership because on-court and off-court, I think we have some different performances.
Yeah. Where do you want me to start? We're going to blind rank these two. So they could be a bit. Which team do you want me to start with?
Give me who you're thinking's a middle of the pack. We're going to rate above and below.
Pack is hard for me. I've probably got a couple of real front runners. Let's go with the Swifts. So they're obviously powerhouse on court. They went with a billboard sort of theme for their signings. They just went heavy with it. Obviously, they found that template. They ran with it. They give anything a go, the Swifts. They got Valentine's Day memes, which I personally, not for me.
I love them. All the punny ones.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for me. They ran the AI gear. I don't know if you saw. They ran some AI gear, which is becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a show us a Swifts fan.
Yeah.
More Swifts.
Yeah.
More
netball. Could have been out of control. Again, not my cup of tea, but they do TikTok. The players do TikToks well. They love a dance. They're pretty good at your sort of trending sounds, your challenges and so on. And they probably their highlight of the off-season was the players went to the TikTok Awards and were sort of given free rein. Okay. Ali Smith led the charge there. And they did really well. And I'd like to see more of Ali Smith in front of the camera. I think there's some real potential there for Ali. And overall, like they're red and dark red, you can't go wrong with dark red as a colour. So that helps the creative team, doesn't it, as well? So
they do have a beautiful uniform, and I feel like all of their girls, they're funny. And they've got oh, okay.
No, that's
You've called out Ali as a strong performer.
No, Ali's strong, Sophie Fawns is strong. I'd lead with them.
Okay.
I'd lead with them.
Put them at the front of your campaign.
They're your sort of marquee content players. I reckon I'm putting them about 6th on our blind ranking ladder.
Okay. All right. I might match you with the other team from New South Wales in the Giants. I want to give them an honourable mention, or maybe this is better redirected to the Netball Australia SSN account, dropping the JLP and Joe Harton album cover. I thought that was a particular highlight, just something a bit fruity, give us some fake lyrics to think about. I like that, but that wasn't actually the Giants, so I can't give that franchise credit for it. Who I did like, Hope White. Now, she's a younger player in the league and she's already shouldering the burden of the February 14th Instagram and TikTok reality, right? She had this post where she's under I don't know if you saw the trend over the summer, but
yeah, I've heard it. It's a Spanish thing. It's not like Latin thing, isn't it? They're grapes.
Yes.
Have you ever gone with the grapes under the table at midnight?
I am not there myself, but Hope White, she was under the table eating some grapes and she was saying
do you make a wish for every grape? So what is it?
I think it's just, look, we'll ask Hope. I think she was hoping, for a boyfriend. But the best bit for me was that you do some Googling. Not only did Hope put her face out.
So I was right. It's a Spanish custom, but the under the table part is new and it was believed to bring good luck, but now users are using it to find love. If that works, grapes are good. I'd eat 12 grapes regardless.
12 grapes, 12 new wives. It sounds like a winning formula to me. But the best bit, not only did Hope fly the flag for all the single gals, so I appreciated that, she did so wearing one sock and one barefoot. If you look really closely.
You're sort of going with a hot mess vibe here, aren't you?
Hey, I think girls wearing one sock and one barefoot, they deserve love. And I think to do it on a social media account, brave, loved it. So Hope White gets my 3 votes MVP for the Giants.
Are you indicating the Giants are sort of going down a bit more of a random sort of let's just...
Nah, I think there's structure there. The Giants are known footy-wise for being very strong with their content. It does cross over. Tilly McDonald, also on the theme of Valentine's Day, she was asked what her dream date was, and she said time zone. I was like, that is a slay.
Time zone's cool. Yeah, if you're 14. Yeah.
She also said, or her house, which I thought, oh, we're going fruity areas. So grapes and a bit more fruit with Tilly McDonald.
Well, she's direct to the point. You've got to give her that.
Giants gals are on a mission. So, no, I did enjoy their campaign, but I'm also going to say there's room for improvement. We'll put them in 7th.
7th.
Yeah.
Orange is tough. Orange is tough as a colour.
Great colour. Bold colour.
Great colour on screen, like for the jumpers and dresses and stuff. I think it's tough on the creative team. Let's have a look at the Mavs. I reckon they're one of the front runners. They've got your man Paddy Quay, who's pretty well known amongst the media ranks. And I reckon he's the big man on campus when it comes to the content. The colours are good. So the art department will enjoy that. The sort of the light blue, sort of rocking it today. They went big on, they love a mini mic, Ockball stuff, which is made big by Hawthorn, obviously. They love the imagery for training, gym flicks, all that sort of stuff, arrival picks. Couple of left field things. They went with some drills and explainers. Try and get out there. Again, on TikTok, again, most of the world don't play netball, particularly our American friends. So I think I enjoyed that idea. That was a good one. My favourite mini mic, and I'm not really sure about the use of the office, the SEN office with the Mavs. Obviously, it was in the dead zone around, I reckon, December, where like the players are obviously on their unionised holiday. You can't really call them in for content stuff. So they've obviously just used the mini mic where they can around the office. The only highlight is that the Big Rig Hutchie was involved in the video. They did one where you had to guess the logos. And I just love watching the great man operate. You know, like it's an absolute frame. He's got the phone set up on like one of the things you see in cars. Like sometimes Uber drivers got it stuck to the, if it's there, just press the button because he's that busy. There's papers just thrown everywhere across the desk in the South Melbourne penthouse. That was a bonus of that video. But personally, the around the office mini mic's not my go. And they love the Mavs wings, which I don't understand. I don't understand what a Maverick is. I don't know where the wings come into it. There's a unicorn. The whole thing confuses me. But overall, the Mavs are pretty good. I've got them in the number 2 spot.
I would agree. I was about to say number 2. I think the best bit about the Hutchie clip was the fact that you think CEOs are out into touch. Not Hutchie. I tell you what, he knew all the teams. He was quick on it.
Doesn't sleep.
Fingers
in pies, spinning plates. He's everywhere.
So I kind of love that top-down approach where it's like the girls might be on holidays, but Hutchie is in the office. He's not being a CEO out on a boat. He's there.
I'd love to see what was on. I'd love to see what was on the laptop screen though. Pay good money to see that.
Well, we'll have to keep wondering.
Let's keep moving.
I think the Mavericks have done a good job. I won't give you the number 1. We might save that till last. Let's talk about the Firebirds because I think they had a challenging off-season last year. But the off-season for the back office continues to be challenging. This Baskin and Robbins ice cream promo is the majority of their content. And I have to say, points for trying. Like, do you reckon the media team sit there and go, right, this season reveal, it gets bigger and bigger every year?
Oh, no, you're working backwards.
How do we do this?
You're working backwards from signed sponsor. They're not working to ice cream. They're working from ice cream. You're starting with Baskin and Robbins. You've got to include them. They're paying the big dollars and you work backwards.
Yeah.
I don't think they're not working to ice cream.
No, agreed. But I reckon they still have the season ahead of them. They've got it on the fixtures on paper and they're going, gosh, how do we jazz this up? What are we going to do with it?
Fixture releases across the league are pretty piss poor.
I'm just going to say the Firebirds, they had a challenging start. It's like where
Baskin and Robbins ice cream is it's the American stuff. It's not like gelati and stuff, is it? It's more like your sort of cookies and cream in that.
That's
like
the kind of flavour,
shit, isn't it? Yeah.
My highlights of this, so basically what they did is they had one scoop and it was themed per round. So something, just your classic raspberry almond brittle. I'll ask you a question here, Maddie. Which team gives you the most raspberry almond brittle vibe?
Wow. Well, yeah, but it depends is Raspberry Army, is it like fancy? Like what is it?
I can't give you that info.
I wouldn't know. Brittle. We'll go, they're crosstown rivals. Let's go the Lightning.
What's your justification?
I don't know. I have no idea what Raspberry Army Brittle is. I just threw a name at you.
Fair enough. They termed it as it's a bit of an old school taste, which I think brittle, maybe an older taste. I can see that. And so they've said that's the Vixens. That's their clash against the Vixens. That's the raspberry almond brittle scoop of ice cream.
Yeah, that's a burn. Cop that, Vixens.
Cop that, Vixens. If you're talking burn, I think the best one, and this one I went, oh, ouch, this is going to hurt this club. I'm waiting for a response. Rainbow sherbet, which I think is pretty fun, right? It's an exciting flavour. Got a lot of
order it, yep.
It's cool. Anyway, they've said it's best served with a spoon. Giants cop that.
Well, to be honest, it's A1 material in terms of it's right there. It's a tap in, but it doesn't mean it's not good. I enjoy it. Dangerous game to be playing if you're the Firebirds. We're exactly fucking right up the ladder there, weren't they? It's a dangerous game. Hot kettle black sort of stuff. They were looking at 3P, weren't they, for spoons? But no, I rate that. I rate that from the Firebirds. Where are you putting them though? You've spent a lot of time on the ice cream here. Where's it got them on the ladder?
They had some good regional tour content. I think they've done okay. We'll give them 5th.
Right, so they're 5th. Swifts was 6th. Who was 7th?
I think we had Giants, then Swifts.
Giants 6th, Swifts 7th.
I've got a strong campaign.
Mavs are in 2. All right, I'll go with my number 1 seed.
Oh.
Right. So this is the Lightning. And the thing about it, you're up on the beach, the sun's out, already the vibes are high. They've got good banter in the group. I think that's a group you'd love to have a couple of margaritas with. I reckon things would start flying around there pretty quick. They're comfy on camera. Plenty of players. They're not afraid of it when the social media personnel come wandering over with the mini mic. They're not running to all corners. They've done a couple of good mini mics. They had pre-game music. The better one for me was the mini mic about DMs.
Oh,
yeah, and you explained sliding into DMs, and it was sort of like, who was the last person to DM you? And a lot of people are sort of running,
That's fun.
It was Liz, it was Steph. Anyway, Riley Batchelor was clearly lying because she says it was like someone from the Lightning. But Liz Watson's in the background absolutely howling out that she's lying. I think we have got a clip in here.
Oh, she's lying. She's lying. No, she's lying.
Batchelor was clearly hiding who someone's trying to riz her up here. To sound like the youngins, Riz. Someone's trying to chat up. And the reaction reminded me when I was younger, and this is showing my age, used to add something. No, so when you're in high school, uni, if you found someone that you might want to chat to or you've just met them, you'd add them on social media, Facebook.
Yeah.
And it used to pop up saying like, Matt Fodia and so are friends. And from everywhere, your mates would just fly in the comments and pretty much ruin any chance you had.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that Riley has protected whoever is trying to slide in there. But I'd really like to know who's sort of sliding into Riley's DMs. But overall, only downside for the Lightning is they had a gun hype video, 2025.
Oh, yes.
And they obviously think about what music to pick, and they've gone with Frank Sinatra.
Oh.
Frank would have loved netball, I reckon. He was a big advocate for female rights.
Okay.
And definitely treated women with respect in his heyday.
Yeah.
I get where they were going with like the song, the lyrics and so on. But yeah, probably not where I would have gone.
What song? So I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
It wasn't my way. It wasn't my way. Let me get it up. Frankie's got it. They're all pretty like, it's a banger of a tune. I just don't think it's the right fit.
So I remember watching this and thinking,
they do one of those ones where it tells you to turn the screen too. That's all the rage at the moment. I've just put Frank Sinatra into Instagram. That's not going to help me, is it?
You have a look at that. I remember watching it and thinking, gosh, if I had this muted, it's calling for like a high energy impact piece, girls doing cool things, huge passes, big drives, whole preseason full of sprints. And then they've gone with this really slow, chill number. And I thought there's a level of like irony big brain.
That's life. That's the song. And that song plays when I do my grocery shopping at Toscano's, the Italian grocer. That's good. There's a nice little Venn diagram. But they're the number one vibe, the Lightning. And I think it helps.
Number one, despite the Sinatra.
Yeah. And I think it's just the players are energetic.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to knock them off number one.
You can't do that. That's not how it works.
It will have to. There'll have to be a number 2 spot for them because the Vixens.
Blind ranking.
Well, I'm jumping in on top. The Vixens, I think, are the clear head and shoulders winner.
Right. Go on.
I think there have been some killer highlights. And when you have Hannah Mundy running the show, it's impossible to find anywhere but a number one place for them. Of course, Mundy starred with learning how to drive a manual, but her interpretive dance fixture reveal, I think, was a very, very noble thing. Her reaction to the Fever match, like that alone, 1 second of comedy gold. So I loved her work. I think there was a recognise the voice clip.
Now, this one I did see.
See, I knew I'd win you over.
This one I did see. And it's funny because the Vixens did it with Simone, the coach, McInnes. And she got pretty much everyone right except the training partners, which I really rate because she's set the tone. You got to earn that voice recognition. So the training partners, obviously, like you're not in the squad, but you're sort of training on. You're not really eligible for selection. Like it's like getting someone's name wrong on purpose, just to assert that dominance. I rate it from Simone if she's done it on purpose.
See,
and it's relatable to your local community sports where like the A grade teams don't know the D grade names.
See,
g'day mate, how you going?
No, this
How'd
is.
you go on the weekend? Yeah, nice mate. That sort of stuff. So I rated that from Simone.
I felt the opposite. It actually gave me more love for Kate Maloney. She nailed it. 11 from 13.
The two she got wrong were training partners though. See, they're setting the tone. Don't worry about it.
But it was a very quick, and her feedback off the back of it was, hang on a second, I didn't say your names. And I was like, that is leadership.
Born competitor though, Maloney, isn't she?
11 from 13, that's a high pass mark.
Training partners though, they'll be going home. They'll just know where they sit. I enjoyed it.
In better news, the ruler grabbing reflex challenge, 1.4 million views on TikTok. So clearly they're doing something right at the Vixens. Stay in the Square marching challenge, the Spotify Wrapped, a lot of this and that. They're number one for me. Can I then give you my number 8?
No, because I've got number 8.
Oh, no. All right, I'll hear you out. Who have you got?
So I got the Fever. Green hurts as a base colour. I love the colour green. Huge fan of the green, but it hurts as a base. Like there's not much you can do with it. It's probably why not a lot of sporting teams run with the green, especially that brightish green. They really went heavy on the birthday and Xmas gear. A lot of Christmas stuff.
I'm okay with that.
A lot of gift wrapping, Christmas Olympic stuff. It's not really. It's time specific. They also really love marching out Dan Ryan. He's probably the most front and centre of the coaches. Pretty much more often than not, it's just giving an interview on how pre-season's going. It's pretty up and down stuff. But there was a TikTok where he did some dancing with the assistant coach, who I probably should know the name of, but don't. Anyway, Dan's got some good rhythm. So if there's an impending dance-off between the coaches, which I wouldn't mind setting up, I reckon Dan's a front runner. Of the rest of them, I don't know who else would probably have that good of moods. Tracy Neville would give it a crack.
Mm-hmm.
I think Julie and Simone would do something sort of funny and ironic.
I mean, Nicole Richardson, the assistant coach of the Mavs.
She's not involved in the dance-off. You can't sub her in.
Rough. She did a dance video.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyway, I think Dan's the front runner there. Tanya opts to give it a go. There's some great photos from Tanya after their premiership win. You go to the Woolshed on Hindley Facebook, get your dates.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a good couple of photos in there. Anyway, Kelsey Brown, we've already mentioned her. She did a couple of mini mics. She was probably the best of it. Yeah, I just think the feet, there's just no identity. So I've got them at 8.
Oh, harsh. I'd say wheeling out Dan Ryan is a great move. Like, you've only spoken highly of what he's contributed to
Yeah, but they only put it on TikTok. Anyway,
okay.
that's just what I know. So I've got him in 8. Present your case for the Thunderbirds.
Isn't it ironic that the team, they've won 2 premierships in a row. I think they were so busy on their grand final celebrations that they forgot their social media accounts existed, which is fair enough because let's keep our eyes on the prize. You'd rather be gunning for your 3rd premiership than gunning for views on TikTok. But there are 2 things that I want to mention that I didn't quite understand. One, they also had a crack at this fixture release and they did a tease with like these TVs and it's like episode 1 in one corner, episode 3 in another. And I was like, okay, we're going somewhere with this. But I don't think they ever actually did the fixture release. I was trying to find it everywhere. Please feel free to prove me wrong if they did it somewhere. But I was like, there's so much hype around this concept that I don't quite understand. I think they've put 2 TikToks out since.
You reckon they didn't post it?
Have a look and prove me wrong. But
Are you
even
talking Instagram or TikTok? Where are we talking?
go to TikTok. Even if they did a follow-up, I just didn't really get the TV concept.
I think you're being harsh on the Thunderbirds, although in terms of like building up to stuff, they did like a lot of the Lightning did it too when they were leading up to that Sinatra video. They did like the They put the date out there, a bit of mysterious stuff.
Ooh.
Thunderbirds did that for like 3 or 4 posts to announce that they've signed a sponsorship deal with Adelaide University. I think it's Adelaide Uni.
There was so much hype around that.
Sign them with the uni. Well done. There's only one uni in Adelaide.
Again,
Good on you.
I love the Thunderbirds, but I'm just going to say you're in 8th place. I'm sorry. Let it be a more positive year for everybody. Go that 3-peat and go that social media content.
Yeah, all right.
All right, they're in 8th.
I reckon it's a tie for 8th. We'll have a dance-off. Tanya Robson, Dan Ryan can have a dance-off for 8th.
Well, we look forward to that exclusive content hopefully coming to the backcourt. I can't wait to see, Maddie, if you can set that up. Maybe in the lead up to round 1, if you can organise that dance-off to happen, we'll get a definitive 1 to 8 ranking.
The Woolshed. They can do a bull riding event in the Woolshed in Adelaide. Have you been?
I have. It is
Did you do the mechanical bull?
I didn't. I'm a bit nervy about.
Yeah, same. Same. I don't trust that bull. But we could get Dan and Tanya to decide.
All right. Well, we'll get them in. If you've got a 1 to 8, your power rankings, please let us know. Of course, we're now on Instagram and we are on TikTok. So at @backcourt_pod, hit us up. Let us know your thoughts. What are you liking from the app? What do you want to see next episode? Of course, we have a big
season preview.
Big season preview ahead
and
of 2025.
send in your war stories. Obviously, we've already referenced the show. We want to have those local community stories, and we want to talk about, as you mentioned at the top, Hannah, real netball. And the only way to really get out there, other than yourself running around, but you've already mentioned off camera that you're more of a fly-in, fly-out sort of operator at Mount Eliza.
Never said that.
We want to get the local stories. We want to hear about your club functions. We want to hear about what happened on the weekend. Send those DMs in. We'll probably set up an email account. But please, get in touch. We want to hear from the real netballers out there.
Well, we can't wait to share your stories and we'll get some thoughts. If you need some support, bit of court of law action, we'll debate it out. Hope you enjoyed it. And we can't wait to join you again for episode 2.